Welcome viewers, we are today going to introduce the topic of cycloalkenes. We will discuss their introduction, nomenclature and conformation. In the earlier lectures, you have heard about alkenes in details. Actually, cycloalkenes are nothing but alkenes in the cyclic structure. So, the outline of today's lecture will be the introduction of cycloalkenes. We will then discuss the nomenclature of cycloalkenes. We will discuss then the conformation of cycloalkenes. Under the category of cycloalkenes, we will discuss the conformation of cyclopropene, cyclobutene, then higher cycloalkenes. We will then discuss the conformation of cyclohexene. We will discuss geometrical isomerism in cycloalkenes also, like cyclooctene. We will then discuss the stereochemistry of cyclooctene, and then finally we will discuss the strain associated with bridgehead cycloalkenes. So, to start with the present lecture, first of all we have to find out what actually are cycloalkenes or how they are related to alkenes. You all know that alkenes contain a carbon-carbon double bond and they can be classified as terminal alkenes when the double bond is present at the end of the carbon chain. They can be classified as internal alkenes when at least one carbon atom is bonded to each end of the double bond, and then they can be classified as cycloalkenes when the double bond is present in the ring. As you can see here, this molecule you can see a double bond. So, a general alkene, general formula for alkene can be represented like this. This is a terminal alkene because you can see that the double bond is present on the terminal carbon, whereas here it is an internal alkene as both the doubly bonded carbon are attached to other carbon or alkyl groups. Then the cycloalkenes are the ones where the double bond is present in the cyclic structure. Cycloalkenes are cyclic hydrocarbons with at least one carbon-carbon double bond in the ring. The smallest cycloalkene is cyclopropene, which has extremely high ring strain and is very reactive. Cyclobutene, cyclopentene and other higher cycloalkenes show very little ring strain. As you can see here, this is the 3 carbon cyclopropene, this is a 4 carbon cyclobutene, cyclopentene and cyclohexene. We will now discuss the nomenclature of cycloalkenes. The rules for naming cycloalkenes are similar to that of acyclic alkenes, which we have already discussed, but here we will discuss certain examples where we will take cycloalkenes as the starting material to name with. In cycloalkenes, the carbon atoms are numbered in such a way that the olefinic double bond is always located between 1 and 2. That is, this is the olefinic double bond and these two carbons will always be named as 1 and 2. The position of double bond is not shown in the name of cycloalkene because a cyclic structure does not have a beginning or an end. Therefore, in this particular example you can see that this is a 5 carbon cyclic alkene, hence it is named as cyclopentene, and this is a 7 carbon cycloalkene, hence it is named as cycloheptene. Now, some examples where substitution is present in the cycloalkene ring. In substituted cycloalkenes with only one double bond, the doubly bonded carbon atoms are numbered 1 and 2 as we have discussed earlier, but since other than this double bond we have a substitution also. So, we will have to number the molecule or other carbon atoms of the ring, and we can number them clockwise also and anti-clockwise also. So, if you look at this particular example, you can see that we have frozen the position 1 and 2 for the double bond as we have discussed earlier. Now, if we go anti-clockwise, then you will see that number 3 is given to this carbon and number 4 will given to the carbon where there is an ethyl substitution. So, according to anti-clockwise movement, we can name the molecule as 4-ethyl cyclohexene. But look at the numbers written in red. Here you can see that the numbering is done from this carbon, and if you go from this side clockwise direction, you will see that at position 5 we have an ethyl substitution. Now, we already know the rule that lowest possible number is given to the substitution, and hence the name of this molecule is 4-ethyl cyclohexene and not 5-ethyl cyclohexene. In another example, here you can see that this is cyclohexene and this position or this carbon has a methyl substitution. If we number clockwise starting from this doubly bonded carbon here, then we can name the molecule as 4-methyl cyclohexene, but if we number it anti-clockwise starting from this carbon, then the number will come as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5-methyl. So, the name of the molecule is 4-methyl cyclohexene and not 5-methyl cyclohexene. Similar rule is adopted for naming this molecule also. Here this carbon is given number 1 and at this position only we have a methyl substitution, and that is why this is 1-methyl cyclopentene. We will not number this from this carbon. If we number it from here, then you can see that the methyl substitution will come at positions 2 and that will be the wrong nomenclature for this molecule. In this example, clockwise numbering is done starting from the double bond and the substituent is numbered at position 3. As you can see in this example, you are starting the numbering from here going clockwise and at position 3 you have a methyl substitution, hence the name of the molecule is 3-methyl cycloheptene. We have another example here where the numbering is done counterclockwise or anti-clockwise starting from this carbon atom. The carbon atom 1 here has a methyl substitution, and when we move from here to this carbon atom anti-clockwise, carbon atom 6 has a methyl substitution. So, name of this molecule is 1,6-dimethyl cyclohexene and not 2,3-dimethyl cyclohexene. We will now discuss the E and Z nomenclature in cyclooctene. E and Z or cis trans nomenclature of alkenes you have already gone through, and here we will utilize the same rules for naming cycloalkenes. You know that when there is a carbon-carbon double bond, the geometry along the doubly bonded carbon is sp2 hybridized, and that is why it has a planar structure, and that is why if the two groups of high priority are on the same side of the molecule, then the name given to molecule is Z, and if two groups of high priority, this group and this group, if they are on opposite side, then the name given to the molecule is E, and that is why this molecule is named as E cyclooctene and this molecule is named as Z cyclooctene. E is synonymous to trans and Z is synonymous to cis nomenclature of alkenes. We will now see the E and Z nomenclature in 1-methyl cyclodecene, that is a 10 carbon cycloalkene. Here you can see that along the double bond you have this hydrogen, this side of alkyl group, this methyl group and this side of the alkyl group. Now, amongst the two we know that hydrogen gets lower priority and amongst these two methyl gets lower priority. So, if methyl and hydrogen, the low priority group, are on the same side of the molecule, then the nomenclature given to the molecule will be Z, Z 1-methyl cyclodecene. Whereas, here in this particular example you can see that the low priority group hydrogen and methyl are on the opposite side of the double bond. Hence, the name of the molecule is E 1-methyl cyclodecene. We will now discuss a strain associated with cycloalkanes and cycloalkenes, because now we are going to discuss conformations of cycloalkene. Now, before we start with conformation, actually we should know what different kind of strain are possible in a cyclic structure, and then how or what actually is conformation. So, first of all, to tell you about conformation, I think you know already because you must have gone through the conformation of butane and ethane and cyclohexane, that conformations are possible in a molecule when there is free rotation along carbon-carbon single bond, or when there is a sp3 hybridized carbon is there. But if you look at the cycloalkenes, you know that we have a double bond also in the molecule. So, here we face some more strain in the molecule. So, before we will discuss the actual conformations of cycloalkene, we will discuss what different kind of strains are possible in cycloalkane and cycloalkene molecules. First of all, the angle strain. Now, you already know that angle strain is possible in a molecule because of deviation from the normal tetrahedral angle. You know, normal tetrahedral angle is 109.5 degrees. Now, if the angle of the 3 carbons is less than 109.5, then there will be angle strain in the molecule. So, cyclopropane, cyclopropene, cyclobutane and cyclobutene, all the 4 rings will face this angle strain in the molecule. The second strain present or possible in these cycloalkene ring is the torsional strain. Torsional strain is possible in a molecule because of dihedral angle along the adjacent carbon hydrogen bond. I will tell you about this dihedral angle or torsional strain with the help of the models. With the help of this model, we will discuss torsional strain. See, this is the cyclohexane molecule, and if you look at the adjacent carbons here, you can see that if I rotate them, then the 2 carbon hydrogen bond actually come parallel to each other. That is why the dihedral angle here between these 2 carbons, these 2 carbon hydrogen bond becomes 0. Now, if I rotate the molecule, or I rotate this carbon-carbon bond between the 2 sp3 hybridized carbon, then you can see that the dihedral angle has gone to 60 degrees. Now, when the dihedral angle is 60 degree, then the space between the atoms is more, or you can say the energy associated with the molecule is less, or the molecule is more stable. That is why torsional strain within the molecule is possible because of rotation along carbon-carbon bonds within the cycloalkane or cycloalkene rings. Now, the third type of strain possible in these rings is van der Waals strain, and this is due to crowding between the 2 atoms or groups attached to different carbons. Again, I will discuss this with the help of the model. Here you can see that this is cyclohexane ring, and if one of the hydrogen, if I remove one of the hydrogen from here and then add a methyl group, this is methyl group, and if I replace a hydrogen by a methyl group, then see what happens. Distance between these 2 hydrogens and the methyl group becomes very less, or you can say the distance becomes less than their van der Waals radii, and when this distance becomes less, there is crowding in the molecule, because of which energy increases and the molecule gets destabilized, or you can say the strain is introduced into the molecule. So, these are the 3 different kind of strain present or possible in cycloalkane and cycloalkene rings. We will now discuss the conformations of cycloalkenes. Since the double bond has a planar geometry, the carbon atoms constituting the double bond in cycloalkenes lie in one plane. The carbon-carbon-carbon bond angle in alkenes is about 122 degrees, which is about 10 degrees larger than the normal carbon-carbon-carbon bond angle in cycloalkane. However, due to bond angle distortion, these molecules become highly strained. This means that there is more angle strain in small cycloalkene rings than the cycloalkane rings. Cyclopropene and cyclobutene molecules are planar, whereas cyclopentene is supposed to be approximately non-planar. Here you can see this is cyclopropene and cyclobutene. These 2 rings are planar. We will discuss it with the help of models in the slides later on, But in case of cyclopentene, since we have 3 carbons which are sp3 hybridized, there is possibility of puckering or change of angle from that of a planar molecule. Here we have shown the angle strain in cycloalkenes with the help of this data. You can see here that this is cyclopropene here, then cyclobutene, pentene, hexene, heptene and octene. And if you look at net strain associated with the molecule, you will find that cyclohexene has minimum strain associated with the molecule. Net strain, when we say net strain energy, means the strain possible in the molecule because of the 3 strain we have already discussed, that is angle strain, torsional strain and van der Waals strain. The addition of all the 3 strain makes the net strain energy, and we can see that cyclohexene has minimum energy associated with it, whereas the maximum strain energy associated is with cyclopropene, or in other words we can say that cyclopropene is highly unstable ring or highly reactive ring. After that we can see here that this is cyclobutene. The interesting part here in this data, you can see that cis cyclooctene has lesser energy than trans cyclooctene. If you remember from your earlier studies that when we discuss the energy associated with cis and trans isomers, it is always the trans isomer which has lower energy, whereas here you can see this is the deviation from that observation, that is the cis cyclooctene has lesser energy, strain energy than the trans cyclooctene. In case of higher cycloalkenes, on the other hand, exist strain free puckered conformation, and on the basis of diffraction studies on cyclohexene, it has been found that cyclohexene exists in half chair conformation as shown in this figure. We will now discuss the conformations of cyclopropene. Even though the double bonds are accommodated by rings of all sizes, their presence in cycloalkene affects the conformation of the ring. The smallest cycloalkene, cyclopropene, was first synthesized in the year 1922. A cyclopropene ring is present in esterculic acid, which is found in the seeds of a tree called Esterculia follida. This plant is found in Philippines and Indonesia. You can see here that this is cyclopropene ring and this is the esterculic acid which is present in this plant Esterculia follida. The angle strain in cyclopropene is more than in cyclopropane. Now, if you look at the question carefully, what we are asking, that angle strain is there in both cyclopropene as well as in cyclopropane, because we already know that in cyclopropane also the angle between the 3 points cannot be more than 60 degree. So, both the rings are a strained ring, but if we compare the two, we find that the angle strain here is more in case of cyclopropene. Now, we will discuss this with the help of models. See, this is a cyclopropane ring. This can become a cyclopropane ring because these black balls represent carbon. I have not shown the hydrogens attached to these carbon, but if I have to make the molecule cyclic, that is if I have to cyclize, then see how much strain I have to put this bond inside this carbon, and in a artificial model I am unable to make a cyclopropane ring like this, right. This shows the amount of strain in cyclopropane. Now, see what happens in case of cyclopropene. I have already told you that these yellow balls representing sp2 hybridized carbon and the geometry along carbon-carbon double bond is a planar one, because of which what happens is that this is a rigid molecule, and if I want to make a bond with the carbon sp3 hybridized carbon and sp2 hybridized carbon, then you can see that it is even more difficult, and that is why we say that angle strain in cyclopropene is more than in case of cyclopropane. In cyclopropane, the bond angle is 60 degrees, which is much smaller than the normal tetrahedral angle of 109.5 associated with the sp3 hybridization. As you can see in these figures also, that we have shown here bent bond. These carbons, all these carbons are sp3 hybridized in cyclopropane, and there is formation of bond. The normal bond line is this, the dotted line, but it is not possible to make bond like this, and they form a bent bond in cyclopropane. In cyclopropene, the strain is even more because of distortion of bond angle at the doubly bonded carbon from their normal sp2 hybridization value of 120 degrees. You already know that when the carbons are sp2 hybridized, the bond angle there becomes 122. So, it is even larger than the normal tetrahedral angle, or you can say the distortion will be even larger from that of cyclopropane. Now, we will discuss the angle strain in cyclobutene. It is a very interesting observation here that we see that angle strain in cyclobutene is less than that of cyclobutane. The case was different, or you can say the reverse in case of cyclopropene and cyclopropane, but here in cyclobutene we find that the strain here is less than that of cyclobutane. Now, what is the reason behind it? Again, with the help of models, I will show you that this is this is the 3 carbon chain, and if I add one more carbon into it, then it is a 4 carbon chain, and I can make a cyclobutane ring like this. Similarly, in this cyclopropene structure, if I add one more carbon and then put the bond like this, then there is formation of cyclobutene. This is cyclobutane and this is cyclobutene. Here it is the double bond which is making the molecule rigid, and the molecule cannot move like this. If I want to move these bonds, they do not move at all. Whereas, see what happens here, since all the 4 carbons are sp3 hybridized, they can move, and that is why a puckered structure is possible. Puckered structure means you can see that this carbon is upside, this carbon is lower side, and this carbon they can keep on moving like this. As a result, if it is a straight structure, or you can say rigid structure, then the bond angle should be 90 degrees. Whereas, in case of cyclobutane, the bond angle is reduced from the 90 to 88.5. That is, we can say that angle strain in the cyclobutane ring is reduced, whereas in case of cyclobutene, it becomes more along these carbons, along the doubly bonded carbon, and it is less along this sp3 hybridized carbon. You will see this in the figure also. In case of cyclobutane, puckering is possible. As a result, the angle becomes less than 90 degree, as you can see here in these figures. Whereas, when we look at cyclobutene, the bond angle along sp2 hybridized carbon is more than 90 degrees. The 2 sp2 hybridized carbon present in the ring force planarity. As a result of shorter double bond, the 2 carbon-carbon-carbon bond angles are slightly larger than 90 degrees, while the other 2 are smaller than the 90 degrees. As you can see here, this is the carbon-carbon double bond. So, the bond angles along this and along this are larger than 90 degrees, whereas the bond angle along this doubly bonded carbon, this one and this one, are lesser than the 90 degrees. We will now discuss the conformations of higher cycloalkenes. The angle strain in cyclopentene, cyclohexene and higher cycloalkenes is almost negligible because the larger rings have more carbons which span the ends of a double bond. As a result, puckering is possible in these rings which reduce angle strain, and that is why cyclohexene, cycloheptene and cyclooctene, all the molecules do not have any angle strain. We will now discuss the conformations of cyclohexene. On the basis of diffraction studies on cyclohexene, it has been found that cyclohexene exists in half chair conformation. Due to the presence of double bond, the 4 carbons of the ring lie in one plane, and out of the 2 remaining, one lie below that plane and the other lie above that plane. This we can discuss, or you can see with the help of model also. This is the cyclohexene ring, where the yellow balls are representing the double bond and the 4 carbons here are there. Now, since this double bond freezes the molecule in this position, these 2 carbons attached to the doubly bonded carbon remain in the same plane, whereas the other left these 2 carbons can move around, and when one carbon is above and the other carbon is below that particular plane of the rest of the 4 atoms, then we get the half chair conformation, and this movement keeps on taking place like this and this, and that is why you will see that one half chair form changes from one to another, and certain amount of energy is needed for this interchange from one half chair conformation to another half chair conformation. Now, at this moment you will also recollect that in case of cyclohexane ring there are many more conformations, like in case of cyclohexane the chair conformation was the most important most stable conformation. Then we had the twist board conformation, we had board and half chair conformation. So, in case of cyclohexene only 2 conformations are possible. One is this half chair conformation and the other one is the half board conformation, in which both these carbons are on one plane, and this is a more or you can say higher energy conformer, and that is why moving from one half chair to another half chair there is formation of this half board conformation. In this figure you can see that one half chair conformation is moving to another half chair conformation. While moving from this to this, if you will look carefully, you will find that the axial and equatorial positions are also interchanged. One more important feature which we would like to discuss here is that in both the half chair forms, the bonds to C4 and C5 are normal axial and equatorial bonds in nature, but bonds to C3 and C6, they are quasi axial and quasi equatorial ones. Quasi equatorial and quasi axial means that they are not completely pointing towards the axis or equator, but somewhat deviated, and this is because of the presence of this double bond in the molecule. It has been found that interconversion of alternative half chair conformations occur readily with an energy barrier of about 5.3 kilocalories per mole, which is about 1/2 of that required for the chair to chair conformation in case of cyclohexane. This is cyclohexane one chair conformation and this is cyclohexane another chair conformation. When it passes from one chair to another chair conformation, the amount of energy required or energy barrier is to the tune of 11 kilocalories per mole, whereas here in case of cyclohexene it is only 5.3 kilocalories per mole. A half board conformation is also possible with both C4 and C5 above 4 carbons, that is C1, 2, 3 and 6. You can see here that this is C1, C2 between which there is a double bond, carbon number 3 and 6 they all lie in one plane, and carbon number 4 and 5 both of them are lying in another plane, and this conformation is called half board conformation. This half board conformation is unstable as compared to half chair conformation of cyclohexene. Now, the geometrical isomerism in cycloalkenes. In case of cyclopropene and cycloheptene, only one geometrical isomeric form is possible, which is the cis form. In trans form, there is a lot of strain associated with the isomer. The smallest cycloalkene which can exist in both cis and trans form is cyclooctene. Here you can see we have given the example with cyclopentene, cyclohexene, heptene and octene. This cyclooctene is the one which exists in both cis and trans form, otherwise all the three they exist in cis form only, because their trans conformation or trans form is less stable. Now the geometrical isomerism in cyclooctene. Cycloalkenes having fewer than 8 carbon atoms have cis geometry only, because their trans isomers are less stable or have higher energy. Trans-cyclooctene is the smallest isolabile trans-cycloalkene, but it is considerably less stable than its cis isomer, and that is why it makes a very you can say peculiar example where the trans isomer is less stable than the cis isomer. We had discussed this point earlier also in our lecture. Now look at the cis cyclooctene and trans cyclooctene. You can see here that in this cis cyclooctene the two groups or attached to the doubly bonded carbon of low priority are on the same side of the molecule, that is the two hydrogens are on the same side, whereas here in case of trans cyclooctene the two hydrogens are on the opposite side, one facing above and the other facing downwards, and that is why in case of cyclooctene both cis and trans forms exist, although the cis form is more stable than the trans form, as the heat of hydrogenation associated with cis form is minus 23 kilocalories per mole, whereas for the trans form it is minus 32.3 kilocalories per mole. The trans form of cyclooctene exists in two optically active forms also, even though it does not have any chiral carbon, and the reason behind it is that the mirror image are non-superimposable. The trans cyclooctene is the smallest trans cycloalkene that has been prepared in pure form and is stable at room temperature. There is considerable angle strain associated with trans isomer. Cis isomer is stabler than the trans isomer by 9.3 kilocalories per mole. We have already discussed this figure. Now the stereochemistry of trans cyclooctene. The trans isomer of cyclooctene is resolvable into stable enantiomer. In general, a trans isomer of cycloalkene does not exist as enantiomer because of the possibility of formation of an achiral conformation with a plane of symmetry. Any conformation with all the carbons in one plane is an achiral conformation. However, if the chain connecting the ends of a double bond is short, as in case of trans cyclooctene, steric hindrance and steric strain prevent the formation of this planar structure, and that is why they exist in the stereoisomeric form. The mirror image isomers so formed are stable and are resolvable also. Here you can see this is the planar form of cyclooctene, which is achiral, but because of the possibility of this puckering or non-planarity incurred into the molecule, the mirror image of this isomer is non-superimposable. As a result, the molecule becomes chiral in nature. We will now discuss the geometrical isomerism in larger cycloalkenes. Since the larger rings have more carbon atoms with which to span the ends of a double bond, the strain associated with a trans cycloalkene decreases with the increase in ring size. The strain almost disappears in 12-membered ring. The cis and trans isomers of cyclododecene have equal stability. Dodecene means 12 carbon cycloalkene. When the rings are larger than 12-membered, the trans isomer are more stable than the cis isomer, which have van der Waals strain between carbons on the same side of the double bond. Larger rings are flexible and energetically similar to a non-cyclic alkenes. Now we will discuss the strain associated with bridgehead alkenes. A bridgehead carbon is one that is contained in both the rings of the hydrocarbon. In norbornene, the double bond does not take the bridgehead position, whereas in case of bicyclo 331 1-nonene, the double bond is present at the bridgehead. As you can see here in this figure, this is bicyclo 331 1-nonene, and in this molecule the double bond is present along the bridgehead. This kind of arrangement of a double bond imposes considerable strain because the alkene cannot be planar while the rest of the carbon in the bicyclic molecule are sp3 hybridized and are puckered. So, in case of bridgehead alkenes, the strain is more than in case of simple cycloalkenes. We will now summarize today's lecture, where we have introduced cycloalkenes. We have discussed the nomenclature of certain substituted and unsubstituted cycloalkenes, and then we have discussed the conformation of cycloalkenes, where we have discussed the conformation of cyclopropene, cyclobutene, cyclohexene. Then we have also discussed the geometrical isomerism in cycloalkenes with the example of cyclooctene. We have discussed the stereochemistry of cyclooctene, and finally, we have discussed the strain associated with bridgehead cycloalkenes. In the next lecture, we will discuss the preparation of cycloalkenes, and then we will discuss various reactions which are undergone by this class of organic compounds. Thank you very much.